You have been waiting for circumstances to improve before you can feel hopeful, waiting for success before you can feel confident, waiting for others to appreciate you before you can appreciate yourself, waiting for the world to change before you can change your response to it. This waiting is not merely futile, it is backwards. It is the fundamental error that keeps you trapped in circumstances you claim to want to escape. Let me be direct with you, more direct than is perhaps comfortable. Every circumstance you currently experience, your financial condition, your relationships, your health, your position in life is the direct result of your habitual mental attitude, not your circumstances creating your attitude creating your circumstances. I can already hear your objection, but my situation really is difficult. My problems are real, not imaginary. You are correct. Your problems are real. But here is the truth you must grasp. Real problems do not require negative mental attitudes. Your mental attitude toward the problem determines whether it defeats you or develops you. You possess, right now, complete control over the one force that shapes every condition of your life. The question is whether you will claim this power or continue surrendering it to circumstances that cannot touch you without your permission. The power you already possess but have surrendered. I have spent more than 40 years interviewing and studying men who built great fortunes from nothing and men of equal intelligence who died in poverty. I have observed women who transformed their circumstances through sheer force of will, and others of similar background who surrendered to despair. The question that drove my research was simple. What separates those who rise from those who sink? What distinguishes the achiever from the drifter? The answer, I discovered, was never what I expected. It was not education. For I found successful men who barely completed grammar school and failures who held university degrees. It was not capital, for many began with nothing, and some who inherited wealth squandered it. It was not luck or favorable circumstances, for I witnessed triumph emerge from the darkest adversity and failure bloom in gardens of opportunity. The difference was always in one thing: the mental attitude each person maintained toward their circumstances. Here is the great paradox I must reveal to you, and it is so simple that many will reject it as too obvious to be profound. You already possess complete control over the one force that determines every condition of your life, your mental attitude, yet you live as though you are helpless before circumstances. You stand in a vault containing unlimited riches while holding the only key that opens it, yet you rattle the bars and cry out against your poverty. Think of it this way. During the Great Depression, I interviewed two men in the same week. Both had lost everything in the 1929 crash: businesses, savings, home. The first man, James, sat across from me with hands clenched, his face a mask of bitterness. "Wall Street destroyed me," he said. "The government failed us. I never had a chance. 5 years had passed since the crash." He remained destitute, paralyzed by his conviction that external forces controlled his destiny. The second man, Robert, had lost even more than James. But when I asked about his circumstances, he leaned forward with an intensity that surprised me. "Mr. Hill," he said, "I lost my money, not my mind. My mental attitude is the one thing no market crash can take from me." Within 3 years of our conversation, Robert had rebuilt a successful enterprise. Same crash, same devastating loss, different mental attitudes, radically different outcomes. You see, you have been waiting for circumstances to improve before you can feel hopeful. You have been waiting for success before you can feel confident. You have been waiting for others to appreciate you before you can appreciate yourself. This waiting is not merely futile, it is backwards. Your mental attitude does not respond to circumstances. Your circumstances respond to your mental attitude. The moment you accept this truth, truly accept it, Not merely acknowledge it intellectually, you gain power over your entire existence. You shift from victim to creator. You stop rattling the bars and start using the key you've been holding all along. This is not wishful thinking or mystical nonsense. This is observable law, as reliable as the law of gravity. Every circumstance you currently experience is the direct result of your habitual mental attitude. Change your mental attitude, and you must inevitably change your circumstances. The question is, will you? The false beliefs that imprisoned you. You have been operating under false beliefs that create the very prison you inhabit. I know this because I operated under these same beliefs for years before I recognized them for the lies they are. Let me be direct with you. Brutal honesty serves better than comfortable deception. There are 3 catastrophic false beliefs that have imprisoned you, and I will expose each one. The first false belief is this: external conditions determine internal states. You believe that you feel the way you do because of your circumstances. Your job makes you unhappy. Your financial situation makes you anxious. Your relationships make you frustrated. This seems so obviously true that to question it feels absurd. But observe what actually happens. 2 people work in the same office, under the same supervisor, performing the same tasks. One maintains that the job is tolerable, perhaps even provides certain satisfactions. The other maintains that the job is unbearable, a daily torture. Same circumstance, different mental attitudes, completely different experiences of the same reality. The truth you must grasp is this: your mental attitude interprets circumstances, and that interpretation creates your experience. The circumstance itself is neutral. Your mental attitude toward it determines whether it becomes stepping stone or stumbling block. The second false belief is equally destructive. You must feel good about something before you can do good work with it. How many times have you said, "I would excel at this if only I felt more enthusiastic about it"? You wait for enthusiasm before applying yourself fully. But here's the peculiar thing: this is precisely backwards. I have observed that excellence creates enthusiasm, not the reverse. When you perform your work with a positive mental attitude, regardless of initial feeling, the quality of your work improves, recognition increases, and genuine enthusiasm follows as a consequence. The feeling you were waiting for arrives only after you demonstrate the excellence you believed required that feeling. The third false belief completes the prison. Your past determines your future. You point to your history of failure and declare, "This is who I am. This is what I can achieve." You generalize from past defeats to predict future outcomes. But consider this carefully. Your past only determines your future if you maintain the same mental attitude that created your past. The man who failed in business because he maintained a negative mental attitude of resentment and fear will fail again if he maintains that same attitude. But if he changes his mental attitude to one of genuine service and confident expectation, his past becomes irrelevant. He begins anew from this moment. I discovered my own false beliefs the hard way. For years I struggled financially despite teaching success principles to others. I counseled men who went on to build fortunes while I remained in difficulty. The hypocrisy tormented me until one day I conducted brutal self-examination. What I discovered shocked me. Hidden beneath my conscious mind, I harbored deep resentment toward those more successful than I. I had convinced myself they possessed advantages I lacked. This negative mental attitude, this false belief that external factors determine success, was broadcasting signals that repelled the very opportunities I sought. The moment I identified this false belief and replaced it with truth that successful people demonstrated what I too could achieve through proper mental attitude, my circumstances transformed, not gradually, dramatically. Within weeks, opportunities appeared that had been invisible to my resentful, negative mind. Your false beliefs are not merely incorrect. They are actively destructive, creating self-fulfilling prophecies that trap you in cycles of failure. You believe circumstances control you, so you act helplessly. Acting helplessly, you produce failure. Failure confirms your belief. The cycle strengthens until it feels like unchangeable truth. But it is not truth. It is a lie you have been telling yourself. And lies, once exposed, lose their power. How your mind broadcasts your destiny. Your mind is not merely a thinking machine. It is a broadcasting station, transmitting thought vibrations through space continuously, every moment of every day. This is not metaphor, this is mechanism. Just as surely as a telegraph transmits signals across wires, your mind transmits signals through what scientists call the ether. Thomas Edison once explained to me how radio broadcasting operates. The transmitting station sends electrical vibrations at specific frequencies. Receivers tuned to those frequencies pick up the signals and translate them into sound. The process is invisible but entirely real and measurable. Your mind operates on precisely the same principle. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, broadcasts vibrations that others receive unconsciously. When you maintain a positive mental attitude, you broadcast confidence, expectation of success, genuine goodwill. When you maintain a negative mental attitude, you broadcast doubt, expectation of failure, hidden resentment. People receive these broadcasts without conscious awareness. They describe it as feeling or intuition about someone. I don't trust him, they say, unable to articulate why. She seems like someone who gets things done, they observe, though nothing in her credentials explains this impression. What they are receiving is your mental broadcast. Let me illustrate with a story Edison himself told me. Before he secured financial backing for his electric light experiments, he spent months maintaining the mental attitude that the right people will come to fund this work. He did not worry about finding them. He did not send desperate letters pleading for investment. He simply expected them to appear, and he broadcast that expectation through his mental attitude. And they came. Seemingly by coincidence, men of wealth approached him. But Edison understood it was not coincidence. It was law. His mental broadcast attracted those whose mental frequencies harmonized with his vision and confidence. Conversely, I knew a talented inventor whose brilliant ideas never found backing. His inventions were sound. I examined them personally and found them ingenious. But his constant fear that no one will believe in this broadcast doubt. Potential backers unconsciously received his transmission of uncertainty. They withdrew without fully understanding why. His negative broadcast repelled the very support he desperately sought. Now, here is the critical insight you must grasp. You can begin controlling your broadcast this very moment. You need not wait weeks or months to apply this principle. Before your next important meeting, your next telephone conversation, your next interaction with anyone, take 3 minutes to deliberately set your mental broadcast. Instead of worrying about outcomes, affirm to yourself, I broadcast confidence, value, and genuine goodwill. Those I meet will receive these signals and respond accordingly. Then maintain this mental attitude throughout the interaction, regardless of what occurs. You will be astonished at the different responses you receive. The person who previously seemed cold becomes warmer. The client who appeared skeptical becomes receptive. The employer who ignored you suddenly notices your value. Nothing about them changed. Your mental broadcast changed, and they unconsciously responded to the new signals you transmitted. This principle operates with telephone calls as well, though skeptics find this harder to accept. The person on the other end receives your mental transmission through your tone, your word choices, the energy behind your voice. When you telephone while broadcasting worry and self-doubt, the conversation goes poorly. When you telephone broadcasting confidence and positive expectation, the same person responds entirely differently. I cannot overstate the importance of this understanding. Every interaction you have, every circumstance you encounter responds to your mental broadcast. You are not powerless before the world. You are a broadcasting station determining what frequencies you attract and what frequencies you repel. The question is whether you will broadcast consciously or unconsciously. Most people broadcast unconsciously, transmitting whatever thoughts and emotions happen to dominate their minds. Then they wonder why circumstances seem random and unpredictable. But you can broadcast consciously. You can deliberately set your transmission before entering any situation. And in doing so, you transform the world from hostile and random to responsive and predictable. The law of mental attitude revealed. There exists a law as immutable as the law of gravity, and when you understand it and apply it systematically, you gain power over your entire life experience. I call it the law of mental attitude, and it operates thus. Whatever you hold in your mind with emotional intensity and unwavering belief must manifest in your external circumstances through the law of attraction. This is not wishful thinking. This is not mysticism. This is law-tested, proven, observable in the lives of every successful person I have studied across 4 decades of research. Andrew Carnegie, the great steel magnate, shared with me how he applied this law deliberately when seeking to merge hundreds of small steel companies into United States Steel Corporation. He maintained one thought with absolute emotional intensity. These men will see the wisdom of cooperation and will join willingly. He charged this thought with the emotion of complete certainty and refused to entertain doubt, even when advisors warned him the consolidation was impossible. Carnegie told me he repeated this thought to himself morning and evening. He visualized the successful merger. He felt the satisfaction of achievement as though already accomplished. And he maintained unwavering belief despite all contrary appearances. One by one, competitors became partners. Men who had sworn never to cooperate found themselves drawn to Carnegie's vision. The seeming impossibility manifested into reality because Carnegie understood and applied the law of mental attitude with scientific precision. Now, observe the 3 requirements that activate this law powerfully. First, dominant thought. You must think the same thought repeatedly until it dominates your mind, crowding out contradictory thoughts. A wish here and there accomplishes nothing. The thought must dominate. Second, emotional intensity. The thought must be charged with strong feeling, either enthusiasm for achievement or gratitude as though already accomplished. Weak, lukewarm thoughts produce weak, lukewarm results. You must feel the thought intensely. Third, unwavering belief. You must maintain faith in the thought's materialization despite contrary appearances. When you see no evidence of manifestation, you maintain belief. When obstacles appear, you maintain belief. This unwavering faith is what separates those who achieve from those who merely hope. When you satisfy these 3 requirements, dominant thought, emotional intensity, unwavering belief, the law of mental attitude activates forces that draw corresponding circumstances to you. You attract 3 things: ideas and insights you did not consciously possess, people whose purposes harmonize with yours, and circumstances and opportunities you could not have predicted or created through conscious effort alone. But here's the critical truth most people miss. This law operates in reverse, with equal reliability. Thoughts of poverty, held with emotional intensity, fear and belief, conviction you will fail, attract poverty. This explains the puzzling phenomenon I have observed. Those who most fear poverty often experience it, while those who expect prosperity achieve it. The mechanism is identical. The fearful person dominantly thinks thoughts of lack. He charges those thoughts with intense emotion, anxiety, worry, dread. He believes absolutely that poverty awaits him. Having satisfied all three requirements, he activates the law of mental attitude in reverse, attracting the very circumstances he fears. You must understand this is not punishment or cosmic irony. This is simply law operating with perfect consistency. The law does not judge whether your thoughts are beneficial or harmful. It simply manifests whatever thoughts you hold with emotion and belief. I challenge you to conduct a 30-day experiment. Select one specific desire, be precise. Write it as a definite statement. I maintain the mental attitude that specific outcome is inevitable and already manifesting. Read this statement aloud 3 times daily. Upon waking, at midday, before sleeping. As you read it, generate strong emotion. Feel enthusiasm for the achievement or gratitude as though already accomplished. And maintain this practice for 30 days without allowing contradictory thoughts to dominate your mind. You will observe 3 phenomena. Ideas will occur to you about how to achieve your desire. People will appear who can help. Circumstances will arrange themselves favorably. These are not coincidences. They are the law of mental attitude operating as predictably as water flows downhill. Apply this law with the same confidence you apply the law of electricity. When you flip a light switch, you do not hope the light will turn on. You expect it because you understand the law governing electricity. Apply mental attitude with this same certainty, and you will achieve results with equal reliability. The magnetic force of thought. Thought is not merely electrical activity confined to your brain. Thought is a force that creates a magnetic field around you, attracting or repelling people and circumstances based on the nature and intensity of your thinking. This magnetic force operates through vibrations that travel through space like radio waves, affecting everything within your sphere of influence. Henry Ford explained this phenomenon to me through a story that proved more revealing than he perhaps intended. In the early years of his automobile company, Ford employed 2 engineers of equal technical ability. Both sought advancement to chief engineer. Both worked long hours. Both possessed the knowledge required for the position. The first engineer, William, constantly worried that Ford's crazy ideas would bankrupt the company. He performed his work competently but harbored doubt about the company's future. The second engineer, Charles, maintained absolute confidence in Ford's vision. He radiated belief that the automobile would transform American life, Ford told me. I felt Charles's confidence. It strengthened my own resolve during difficult times. William's doubt, though he never spoke it directly, created a negative force field I couldn't tolerate. His very presence drained my energy. Within 2 years, Charles became chief engineer. William was let go. The peculiar thing is this: William's technical knowledge was actually superior to Charles's. But technical knowledge alone could not overcome the repellent force of his negative mental attitude. His doubt created magnetic force that pushed opportunity away. You see, your dominant mental attitude creates an invisible field extending beyond your physical body. When you enter a room, people unconsciously respond to this field before you speak a word. Enter with confident, positive mental attitude, and others feel drawn toward you. Enter with fearful, negative mental attitude, and they instinctively create distance. You have experienced this yourself, though perhaps you did not understand what was occurring. You meet someone and immediately feel either attracted or repelled, usually without conscious reasoning. What you are feeling is their magnetic force, the vibrations emanating from their dominant mental attitude. This magnetic force operates through 3 distinct mechanisms. First, it creates what I call attractive magnetism. When you maintain positive mental attitude charged with confidence and genuine goodwill, you become a magnet for opportunity. People want to cooperate with you. Clients seek you out. Employers notice you, not because you are manipulating them, but because your positive vibrations create pleasant sensations they unconsciously desire to experience again. Second, this force creates repellent magnetism. Negative thoughts, doubt, resentment, fear, criticism create vibrations that actively push away positive circumstances. You wonder why opportunity eludes you, why people avoid you, why circumstances seem hostile. The answer lies in the repellent force you are unconsciously broadcasting through negative mental attitude. Third, and most importantly, your magnetic force extends to specific individuals through the thoughts you maintain about them. Think of someone with genuine goodwill and positive expectation, and you create attractive magnetism between you. That person will often contact you, coincidentally, because they unconsciously receive your positive vibrations. Think of them with resentment or criticism, and you create repellent magnetism. They avoid you without knowing why. Now, here is the practical application. Before entering any space where people gather, your office, a store, a meeting, even your own home, pause outside for 30 seconds. Deliberately create positive magnetism by thinking, I enter this space radiating goodwill, confidence, and positive expectation. My magnetic force attracts positive responses. Hold this thought with feeling for 30 seconds. Then enter and observe how people respond differently than when you enter broadcasting worry or negativity. This simple practice, repeated 10 times this week, will prove to you beyond doubt that your magnetic force is real and controllable. For specific individuals with whom you have difficult relations, try this experiment. For 5 consecutive days, spend 3 minutes morning and evening thinking of this person with deliberate goodwill. Focus on their positive qualities. Expect pleasant interaction. Do not tell them you are doing this. Just maintain the mental attitude. On the 6th day, interact with them. You will discover they respond more positively, more cooperatively, without knowing why. This is not manipulation. This is simply creating attractive magnetic force through proper mental attitude. Your thoughts are not private, contained experiences. They are forces that radiate outward, affecting everyone and everything within your sphere. You are always broadcasting magnetic force. The only question is whether it attracts or repels the circumstances you desire. Your subconscious mind, servant or master? Your subconscious mind is the most powerful servant you possess, yet most people have inadvertently made it their master through decades of negative programming. This reversal servant, becoming master, explains more failures than any other single cause I have observed in 40 years of research. The subconscious mind operates with absolute loyalty. It accepts without question whatever thoughts you impress upon it most frequently and emotionally, then works ceaselessly to manifest those thoughts in reality. Feed it thoughts of success with a positive mental attitude, and it serves you by attracting success. Feed it thoughts of failure with a negative mental attitude, and it still serves you faithfully by attracting failure. Let me share a personal story that proves this principle beyond doubt. My son Blair was born without ears. Doctors declared he would never hear, never speak normally, never live as other children do. But I refused to program his subconscious mind with limitation. From the day of his birth, I repeated to him daily, "You will hear and speak normally." I impressed this thought with intense emotion and absolute belief, even when doctors shook their heads at my supposed delusion. I was not deluding myself. I was deliberately programming my son's subconscious mind. His subconscious mind accepted this programming and found a way. Blair learned to hear through bone conduction, a mechanism the medical men had not considered. He developed speech normally. He never perceived himself as handicapped because his subconscious mind had been programmed with ability, not disability. Now, observe carefully how programming occurs. Your subconscious mind accepts thoughts through 3 channels: repetition, emotion, and authority. Repetition thoughts you think frequently. Emotion thoughts charged with strong feeling. Authority thoughts impressed by those you respect or fear. Most people's negative programming entered through all three channels simultaneously. As children, they heard repeated negative statements from authority figures, statements charged with emotion. You'll never amount to anything. Money doesn't grow on trees. Life is hard. These thoughts, repeated frequently by trusted authorities and charged with emotional intensity, programmed the subconscious mind with limitation. But here is the liberating truth. You can reprogram through the same channels applied positively. You can repeat positive statements frequently. You can charge them with positive emotion. You can establish yourself as the authority over your own mind. The method is called autosuggestion. Deliberately feeding your subconscious mind specific instructions through repeated statements charged with emotion. Each morning upon waking and each evening before sleep, you repeat your desired programming until the subconscious accepts it as truth and begins executing it. Create one programming statement for an area you wish to transform. My subconscious mind now attracts abundant prosperity to me. I expect prosperity, and I receive it. Write this on a card you carry with you. Each morning and evening, read it aloud 10 times with maximum emotion. You can generate enthusiasm, gratitude, excitement. See yourself already experiencing prosperity. Feel the emotion of achievement. Continue this practice for 30 days minimum. Within 2 weeks, you will notice your subconscious serving you differently. Ideas for increasing income appear. Opportunities you previously missed become visible. People who can help materialize seemingly by coincidence. But they are not coincidences. They are your subconscious mind, properly programmed, faithfully serving you according to its new instructions. The greatest tragedy I have witnessed is people struggling against their own subconscious programming. They consciously desire success while their subconscious has been programmed for failure. They fight themselves daily, exhausting their energy in internal conflict. But you can end this conflict today. You can reclaim your subconscious mind as the powerful servant it was meant to be. You can stop being mastered by unconscious negative programming and become the master who programs consciously and deliberately. The servant awaits your instructions. What will you command? The honest inventory that changes everything. You cannot change what you cannot see. This simple truth underlies the most important exercise you will ever undertake, the complete, brutal, honest inventory of your actual mental patterns. Most people believe they already maintain a positive attitude because they are unconscious of the negative thoughts poisoning their minds throughout each day. They are like a man with a wound who insists he is healthy because he cannot see the infection spreading beneath the bandage. I learned this through painful self-examination. For years I struggled financially despite teaching success principles to others. I counseled men who went on to build fortunes while I remained in difficulty. The hypocrisy tormented me until I could no longer avoid the obvious question, why do I fail to apply what I teach? I forced myself to conduct a 3-day inventory. I carried a small notebook everywhere and wrote down every negative thought that appeared, without censoring or judging, just recording. What I discovered horrified me. I discovered I resented successful people, though I claimed to admire them. I doubted my own ideas, though I proclaimed confidence. I feared criticism, though I presented bold certainty. I expected rejection, though I spoke of inevitable success. This constant stream of negativity operated beneath my conscious awareness, sabotaging every effort I made. But seeing it on paper changed everything. I could no longer pretend these thoughts did not exist. I could no longer blame circumstances for my condition. The evidence was written in my own hand. I was creating my circumstances through negative mental patterns I had not consciously recognized. You must conduct this same inventory if you wish to transform your life. For 3 consecutive days, carry a small notebook everywhere. Every time you notice a negative thought, complaint, worry, criticism, doubt, fear, resentment, write it down immediately. Do not censor. Do not rationalize. Just record. Most people discover they harbor dozens of negative thoughts daily they had not consciously recognized. This awareness itself begins weakening these patterns. You cannot maintain unconscious negativity once you have made it conscious. After 3 days, review your notes. Group your negative thoughts into categories. Fears, what you expect will go wrong. Resentments, who you blame or envy. Doubts, what you don't believe you can achieve. Complaints, what you criticize about circumstances. You will typically find 2 or 3 categories dominate. These are your primary negative patterns requiring reprogramming. For each pattern, ask, where did this begin? Who programmed this thought into my mind? Often you will trace it to childhood authority figures, past failures you generalized incorrectly, or fearful reactions to circumstances you made permanent. Understanding the origin does not excuse the pattern, but it demystifies it. You see it as learned programming, not inherent truth. If it was learned, it can be unlearned. Then calculate the cost. For each negative pattern, write, this pattern has cost me, and list specific opportunities, relationships, achievements you can identify. Make the cost concrete and painful. Until you see clearly what your negative mental attitude has cost you, you lack sufficient motivation to maintain the discipline of transformation. This inventory is not pleasant. You will feel humiliated at discovering how much unconscious negativity has been sabotaging you. But this humiliation is the birth pang of liberation. You have been unconsciously creating your prison. Now you see the bars clearly. And what you can see, you can dismantle. Do not judge yourself for the negativity you discover. Self-judgment is itself a negative mental attitude. Simply observe as a scientist observes with curiosity and determination to understand. The enemy is not you. The enemy is the unconscious programming. And unconscious programming, once made conscious, loses its power. Your 3-day inventory will be the most valuable investment of time you make this year. 4 hours total, 3 days of recording, 1 hour of analysis. But those 4 hours will reveal why you have been stuck and exactly what must change. Most people avoid this exercise because they fear what they will discover. But I tell you this, what you refuse to see controls you. What you make conscious, you can master. The sacred practice of autosuggestion. I learned the technique that transformed my life from Dr. Elmer Gates, a man who proved that concentrated thought produces measurable electrical activity in the brain. He taught me that thoughts repeated with emotion create pathways in the nervous system, like water carving channels in rock through persistent flow. Autosuggestion is the method by which you feed your subconscious mind specific instructions through repeated statements charged with emotion. This practice, performed correctly each morning and evening, is the single most powerful technique for building positive mental attitude. The timing is critical. Autosuggestion works most powerfully immediately upon waking and just before sleep because your conscious mind is quieter during these transition periods, allowing direct access to your subconscious. Practice at these times creates maximum programming impact with minimum conscious resistance. Missing these optimal windows reduces effectiveness significantly. Your autosuggestion statement must follow a precise structure. It must be present tense, I am or I have, not I will. It must be specific, clear description of what you're programming. It must be positively stated what you want, not what you don't want. And it must be emotionally compelling language that generates feeling. For example, I now attract abundant prosperity through my positive mental attitude. Money flows to me from multiple sources, and I use it wisely for good. This statement is present tense, specific, positive, and emotionally charged. But merely repeating words programs nothing. You must feel strong emotion while speaking your statement. To generate emotion, visualize yourself already experiencing what you're programming. Allow yourself to feel how that feels. Then speak your statement from that emotional state. The emotion is the electrical charge that drives the thought into subconscious acceptance. Repeat your statement at least 10 times during each morning and evening session. Subconscious programming occurs through repetition. Once or twice does nothing. The constant repetition with emotion gradually overwrites old programming. I began experimenting with this technique after learning it from Dr. Gates. Each morning upon waking and each evening before sleep, I repeated specific statements about my work with intense emotion. Opportunities come to me daily. The right people are drawn to my ideas. My work serves humanity and brings prosperity. I felt foolish at first. Talking to myself seemed absurd. My conscious mind resisted. This can't possibly work. You're just making noise. But I persisted because Dr. Gates had proven the principle scientifically. Within 2 weeks, opportunities appeared that seemed like miracles, but were simply my reprogrammed subconscious mind, attracting circumstances matching my new programming. People I needed to meet contacted me seemingly by coincidence. Ideas arrived fully formed during quiet moments. Obstacles that had seemed insurmountable dissolved. This was not magic. This was law as predictable as seeds growing when planted in fertile soil and given water and sunlight. I was planting thoughts in my subconscious mind. The thoughts grew into corresponding circumstances. You must commit to 30 consecutive days of this practice. Create your statement tonight. Write it on a card you keep by your bedside. Tomorrow morning, within 5 minutes of waking, before checking the time, reading news, or engaging with others, read your statement aloud 10 times with maximum emotion you can generate. Tomorrow evening, within 30 minutes before sleep, repeat the practice. Do this every day for 30 days without missing a session. If you miss a day, restart the 30-day count. Consistency is absolutely critical for subconscious reprogramming. Most people see results within 2 weeks but require 30 days for permanent reprogramming. Some notice changes within days, ideas appearing, opportunities emerging, circumstances arranging themselves favorably. These are signs your subconscious mind is serving you according to its new programming. The practice takes only 10 minutes, daily total 5 minutes morning, 5 minutes evening. 10 minutes to reprogram decades of negative patterns. 10 minutes to transform your entire life trajectory. This is not too much to ask. This is the smallest possible investment for the greatest possible return. The instant replacement principle. W. Clement Stone, my collaborator in later years, told me how he trained himself in the practice that made him immune to defeat. When he was building his insurance business, prospects rejected him constantly. Each rejection triggered an automatic negative thought. That's another failure. Stone recognized this thought was programming his subconscious mind for failure. So he developed what I call the instant replacement principle. The moment the negative thought appeared, he would catch it midstream and instantly replace it. That's another person who taught me how not to present the policy. The next prospect will benefit from this lesson. This instant replacement prevented the negative thought from gaining momentum. It interrupted the negative programming before it could reach his subconscious, and it strengthened positive neural pathways through repetition. Stone practiced this replacement thousands of times. He told me that after approximately 20,000 repetitions over several months, the positive replacement became automatic. His mind no longer generated the initial negative thought. The positive interpretation had become his default response. You see, you cannot eliminate negative thoughts by fighting them. Fighting negative thoughts gives them energy and attention, making them stronger. You can only replace them by immediately substituting positive thoughts. This is the instant replacement principle. The moment you catch yourself thinking negatively, you immediately pivot to a positive thought without analyzing, arguing with, or dwelling on the negative one. Your mind can hold only one conscious thought at a time. When you instantly replace negative with positive, you interrupt the negative pattern and strengthen the positive one. The technique is simple. When you notice a negative thought, say, "Stop," mentally or aloud. Then immediately state the positive alternative. Do not analyze the negative thought. Do not explore why you're thinking it. Just stop and replace. Negative thought, "This will probably fail." Stop. Replace, "This is teaching me what works and what doesn't, bringing me closer to success." Negative thought, "I'm not good enough." Stop. Replace, "I am developing my abilities daily through persistent effort." Negative thought, "They don't respect me." Stop. Replace, "I earn respect through consistent demonstration of value and integrity." Your replacement thought should acknowledge reality if necessary, then state the positive interpretation. Do not use false positive statements your mind rejects as untrue. Use truthful positive interpretations of the same reality. When you cannot think of a specific positive replacement, pivot immediately to gratitude. Whatever negative thought arose, immediately think of 3 things you're grateful for, unrelated if necessary. This shifts your mental state from negative to positive, even without directly addressing the negative thought. In the first weeks, you will forget to replace negative thoughts most of the time. You will catch yourself hours later realizing you dwelt on negativity all day. This is normal. Do not judge yourself. Simply begin again. Each time you do catch yourself and make the replacement, you strengthen the awareness and the habit. After approximately 100 to 200 replacements, the catch and pivot becomes increasingly automatic. You catch negative thoughts sooner. The pivot happens faster. After 1,000 replacements, about 2 to 3 months of daily practice, it becomes your dominant pattern. For 1 week, focus exclusively on practicing this technique. Set an intention each morning. Today I will catch and replace negative thoughts immediately. Carry a small counter or make tally marks each time you successfully execute a replacement. Aim for 10 replacements the first day, increasing daily. Common scenarios. Stuck in traffic, negative. "This is wasting my time." Replace. "This gives me time to practice autosuggestion mentally." Criticized at work, negative. "My boss is unfair." Replace. "This feedback might contain something useful, even if poorly delivered." Bill arrives, negative. "I can't afford this." Replace. "I'm grateful I have services worth paying for, and the money to pay comes to me." Practice this diligently for 1 week. You will notice negative thoughts losing their power. They appear less frequently and dissipate faster. Your mental atmosphere lightens. Your energy increases. People respond to you more positively because you are broadcasting different vibrations. This is not suppressing negative thoughts. This is training your mind like you train a muscle through repetition against resistance until the new pattern becomes stronger than the old. The morning ritual that determines your day. The first hour after waking is the most important hour of your day. How you use this hour determines your mental attitude for everything that follows more powerfully than any circumstance you encounter. I observed this principle dramatically when studying the daily habits of successful men. I spent mornings in 2 different households within the same week, and the contrast revealed everything about why one man struggled while the other prospered. The first man, despite financial difficulty, woke with gratitude. Before rising, he spent 10 minutes reviewing his definite aim and visualizing its achievement. He read the morning newspaper without absorbing its negativity, staying informed but not infected. He greeted his wife and children with genuine warmth, recognizing these relationships as among his greatest treasures. By breakfast time, he radiated positive energy. The second man, despite financial comfort, woke with dread. He immediately reached for the newspaper and absorbed every tragedy, confirming his belief that the world was dangerous and hopeless. He approached his family with silent resentment at their demands. By breakfast, the entire household felt his negative vibrations. His wife moved quietly to avoid irritating him. His children ate quickly and left. Same morning hour. Radically different mental attitudes. Completely different family atmospheres, all based on how each man used his first hour. You must understand that the first hour after waking is when your subconscious mind is most receptive to programming. The semi-conscious state creates direct access. The thoughts you think during this hour set your mental trajectory more powerfully than thoughts at any other time. Most people waste this precious hour in unconscious mental wandering. They reach for the alarm clock and immediately begin worrying about the day ahead. They check the time and calculate how little sleep they got. They rehearse their grievances and anticipate problems. By the time they rise from bed, their mental attitude is already negative. But you can claim this hour deliberately. You can establish positive mental attitude before circumstances test it. Here is the morning ritual practiced by every successful person I have studied. Before getting out of bed while still in the receptive semi-conscious state, practice your morning autosuggestion. Repeat your programming statement 10 times with feeling. This captures the optimal moment when your subconscious is most receptive. Then, while washing and dressing, consciously count 10 things you're grateful for. Do not rush this. Feel appreciation for each one. This practice trains your mind to search for positive elements and generates positive emotion that raises your mental vibration before encountering any challenges. Before leaving your private space, spend 5 minutes reviewing your definite chief aim, your primary life goal, and visualizing yourself achieving it. See it clearly. Feel the emotion of accomplishment. Then proceed into your day carrying this mental image and feeling. If you consume news, do so after establishing your positive mental attitude through these practices. Read to stay informed, but refuse to absorb the negativity. Notice facts without accepting the fear, worry, or outrage the stories may generate. You control what enters your mind. Be selective and protective. This ritual requires 30 minutes total. Most people waste far more than 30 minutes each morning in unconscious mental wandering, checking news obsessively, engaging in useless worry. This ritual invests 30 minutes in programming your entire day for success. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier if necessary. The investment is worth it. After 1 week of this morning ritual, you will notice your days feel fundamentally different, more energized, more positive opportunities appearing, better interactions with people, greater productivity, enhanced creativity. The morning ritual does not guarantee that difficulties will not arise during your day, but it guarantees you will meet those difficulties with positive mental attitude already established, not with negative mental attitude that amplifies every problem. Your life quality is determined largely by your mental attitude. Your mental attitude is determined largely by how you use your first hour each day. Master your morning, and you master your life. Transforming the workplace through mental attitude. Your mental attitude toward your work determines not merely the quality of your work, but also the opportunities that come to you, the relationships you develop, and the advancement you achieve. Let me illustrate this with 2 men I observed while researching Think and Grow Rich. Both were bank clerks, processing deposits and withdrawals at identical positions in the same institution. Edward complained constantly about his pay, about customers, about management decisions. He performed minimum required duties, watched the clock, projected resentment. After 5 years, Edward remained a clerk. bitter at being overlooked for promotion. Franklin, the second clerk, approached each transaction as service. He learned every bank operation he could, volunteered for additional projects without demanding extra pay, applying what I call the going the extra mile principle. He maintained positive mental attitude not because circumstances warranted it, but because he chose it deliberately. Within 3 years, Franklin became assistant manager. Within 5, he managed the entire branch. Edward blamed favoritism. But the bank president told me directly, Franklin's attitude infected the entire staff with enthusiasm. Edward's negativity poisoned everyone around him. The choice was obvious. Same position, same institution, different mental attitudes, vastly different outcomes. You see, your mental attitude at work broadcasts continuously to everyone around you. Supervisors receive your transmission. Co-workers receive it. Clients receive it, and they respond accordingly, though they may not consciously understand what they're responding to. The going the extra mile principle operates thus. Render more service than you are paid for, maintaining positive mental attitude while doing so. This creates multiple benefits simultaneously. It develops your abilities beyond your current role, preparing you for advancement. It attracts favorable attention from those who control opportunities. It creates a sense of obligation in others toward you. And most importantly, it programs your subconscious mind for greater achievement. Most people do minimum required work and wonder why advancement eludes them. They fail to grasp that advancement comes before you are ready for it, not after. You demonstrate through going the extra mile that you can handle greater responsibility. Then responsibility comes to you. But you must maintain positive mental attitude while going the extra mile. If you render extra service with resentment, viewing it as manipulation to get ahead, your resentful vibrations are detected. Your service becomes contaminated with negativity. The principle fails to operate. Here is your practical implementation. This week, identify one task you typically resent at work. Perform this task with deliberate excellence and positive mental attitude. Observe how the experience transforms not the task itself, but your experience of it. Select one coworker you find difficult. For 3 minutes each morning, think of them with genuine goodwill, focusing on their positive qualities. Watch how your relationship shifts within days. They become more cooperative, more friendly, without knowing why. Find one opportunity to go the extra mile, perform valuable service beyond required duties without seeking credit. Notice how this changes your own sense of value and how others begin viewing you differently. Before entering your workplace each morning, spend 2 minutes setting your mental attitude. I bring positive energy, excellence, and genuine goodwill to this workplace. I serve others and attract positive responses. This deliberate programming determines your entire workday more powerfully than any circumstance you encounter. Your work experience is largely created by your mental attitude, not by the work itself. The bad job you complain about might become a good job simply through changing your mental attitude toward it. And even if circumstances remain genuinely difficult, maintaining positive mental attitude attracts opportunities to move to better circumstances. The question is not whether your current work situation deserves your positive mental attitude. The question is whether you will claim your power to create your experience through mental attitude or surrender that power to circumstances. The choice, as always, is yours. Responding to adversity, the ultimate test. Your true mental attitude is revealed not in favorable circumstances, but in how you respond to adversity. Anyone can maintain positive thoughts when things go well. The real test comes when facing temporary defeat, criticism, loss, or setback. Thomas Edison's laboratory burned to the ground one December evening, destroying years of work and millions of dollars in equipment. His son Charles found him watching the fire with apparent calm and feared his father would be devastated. But Edison said something Charles never forgot. "Go get your mother. She'll never see a fire like this again. Then, we've just cleared out a lot of old rubbish. Tomorrow we start rebuilding." Within 3 weeks, Edison had designed improved equipment and reorganized more efficiently. The tragedy led directly to several breakthrough innovations that might never have occurred without the forced restart. Had Edison interpreted the fire as defeat and quit, incandescent lighting might never have illuminated the world. Same fire. But Edison's mental attitude toward the fire determined whether it became tombstone or stepping stone. I have studied every successful person I interviewed for one common trait in their response to adversity. All of them, without exception, encountered adversity worse than average people face. But they interpreted adversity differently. They searched for what I call the seed of equivalent benefit in every temporary defeat. This is not naive optimism. This is practical recognition that adversity often redirects you toward opportunity you would have missed on your current path. But you must actively search for the benefit. It does not announce itself. When temporary defeat strikes, immediately ask, what is the potential benefit hidden in this situation? How might this apparent defeat be redirecting me toward something better? This single question transforms defeat from verdict to feedback. The person with negative mental attitude interprets temporary defeat as proof of ultimate failure, leading to surrender. The person with positive mental attitude interprets the same defeat as temporary obstacle on the path to certain success. They maintain expectation of ultimate victory while being flexible about methods. Let me be direct about this. The expectation of ultimate success is not wishful thinking. It is determination to persist until finding what works. Edison failed 10,000 times before succeeding with the light bulb. But he did not fail. He discovered 10,000 approaches that don't work, bringing him closer to the one that does. After temporary defeat, take immediate new action, even small action. This prevents the defeat from paralyzing you and programming your subconscious with failure. The person who quits after defeat allows the defeat to become final. The person who immediately tries a new approach maintains momentum. Here is your response protocol for the next temporary defeat you encounter, and you will encounter it. For adversity is guaranteed in any ambitious life. Allow yourself 15 minutes to feel the disappointment. Do not suppress genuine emotion. Then deliberately set your mental attitude. This is temporary defeat, not failure. This is redirecting me toward better opportunity. Spend 30 minutes writing answers to what could this be teaching me? What is the potential benefit? What new approach should I try? Within 24 hours, take one concrete action toward your goal using a different approach. This protocol prevents defeat from becoming failure and maintains your positive mental attitude under fire. Practice it on small disappointments now so it becomes automatic for larger adversities. I have observed that those who achieve great things do not have easier lives. They simply respond to difficulty differently. They maintain positive mental attitude through adversity. This is what separates achievers from drifters, not absence of obstacles, but response to obstacles. When you develop what I call adversity immunity, the capacity to face setbacks without being defeated by them, you lose your fear of adversity. And losing fear of adversity removes the paralysis that keeps most people from attempting ambitious goals. You cannot control whether adversity comes, but you can control your mental attitude toward it, and that control determines whether adversity defeats you or develops you, opening the gateway to infinite intelligence. When you consistently maintain positive mental attitude, you tune your mind to a frequency that allows you to receive guidance from what I call infinite intelligence, the universal creative force that contains all knowledge, all wisdom, all solution. This is not mysticism. This is observable phenomenon I have experienced personally and witnessed in every successful person I have studied. Each night before sleep, I conduct what I call invisible counselor sessions. I visualize a council of 9 great thinkers, Lincoln, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, and others whose wisdom I respect. I pose questions to them and listen to their responses in my imagination. Skeptics call this mere imagination, but the advice I receive far exceeds my conscious knowledge. One night, facing a seemingly unsolvable problem in my work, I conducted my council meeting. Carnegie, in my visualization, suggested an approach I had never consciously considered. I applied it the next day. It worked perfectly. Was this my subconscious accessing knowledge I possessed unconsciously? Was it genuine connection to infinite intelligence? The mechanism matters less than the result. Maintaining positive mental attitude opens channels to wisdom beyond conscious knowledge. Here is how the principle operates. Infinite intelligence broadcasts continuously, like a radio station sending signals. Your mind is the receiver. Negative thoughts create static that jams reception, worry, fear, doubt, resentment, all create interference. Positive mental attitude clears the static, allowing clear signal reception. This explains why solutions often come when you stop worrying and relax into positive expectation. You have cleared the interference. The signal can reach you. You know you have connected to infinite intelligence when complete solutions appear suddenly without conscious reasoning. When you experience absolute certainty about a course of action without logical explanation. When hunches guide you to take actions that produce results better than logic would have predicted. These are not luck. They are infinite intelligence operating through your cleared mental channels. You can deliberately tune your mind to receive infinite intelligence through this practice. Achieve deep relaxation. Establish strong, positive mental attitude by thinking of things you're grateful for until you feel genuinely positive. Pose your question clearly. Then release it to infinite intelligence with faith that the answer will come. The answer may arrive in that session, during sleep, or in the following days, but it will come if you have maintained the positive receptive state. Tonight, try this experiment. Before sleep, achieve comfortable relaxation. Establish positive mental attitude through gratitude. State a question or problem you face, preferably in writing. Say aloud, I release this question to infinite intelligence and maintain positive expectation that the answer will come. Then release it. Do not worry about it. Do not try to solve it consciously. Go to sleep with positive expectation. Often the answer appears in the morning, either in a dream, as a hunch upon waking, or as an idea during the day. Practice this 3 times this week with 3 different questions. You will prove to yourself that wisdom comes from beyond your conscious mind when you tune your receiver properly. When you maintain negative mental attitude, you cut yourself off from infinite intelligence entirely, leaving you dependent on your limited conscious knowledge alone. This explains why 2 people of equal intelligence achieve vastly different results. One accesses universal wisdom through positive mental attitude. The other struggles alone in negative isolation. You have access to infinite wisdom, but you must clear the channel through which it reaches you. And that channel is cleared through one thing: positive mental attitude maintained consistently. The guidance you seek already exists. The solutions you need are already available. You need only tune your receiver to the frequency on which they broadcast. The ripple effect, your responsibility to others. When you maintain positive mental attitude, you become a force for good in the lives of everyone you touch. When you maintain negative mental attitude, you become a carrier of contagion, spreading discouragement and limitation. This is your gravest responsibility. Your mental attitude does not affect you alone. I witnessed this principle dramatically with two fathers I interviewed while studying family dynamics of successful and unsuccessful people. The first father, despite financial difficulties, maintained positive mental attitude at home. He faced his challenges with confidence and optimism. His children grew up believing problems were solvable, setbacks were temporary, life was full of opportunity. All three of his children achieved significant success in their respective fields. When I interviewed them years later, each attributed their success mindset to their father's example during difficult times. He never let circumstances defeat his spirit, one daughter told me. That taught us that we control our response to life, not the other way around. The second father, despite financial comfort, maintained negative mental attitude. He worried constantly, criticized frequently, expressed fear about the future. His children absorbed this mental atmosphere daily. They grew up anxious, pessimistic, risk-averse. Despite advantages of education and capital, all three struggled in life. The difference was not circumstances, but the mental atmosphere created by each father's dominant attitude. Your family, particularly your children, absorbs your mental attitude more deeply than anyone because of frequency of contact and emotional bond. If you maintain negative mental attitude at home while maintaining positive mental attitude in public, you damage those you claim to love most. Home must be the first place you maintain positive mental attitude, not the place where you let down into negativity. Mental attitude spreads from person to person like physical contagion. Spend time with someone maintaining strong, positive mental attitude, and your attitude lifts. Spend time with someone maintaining negative mental attitude, and your attitude lowers unless you consciously protect yourself. This creates moral obligation. You are always spreading your mental attitude to others. The only question is whether you spread life or death, hope or despair, strength or weakness. Deliberately form associations with others committed to maintaining positive mental attitude. These alliances create mutual reinforcement. When one person's attitude wavers, others lift them. Conversely, distance yourself from those chronically maintaining negative mental attitude who refuse to change. This is not cruel. This is self-preservation. When you maintain positive mental attitude consistently, people begin seeking you out unconsciously. They feel better in your presence, though they may not understand why. You become a center of positive influence, drawing others toward their better selves. This week, observe your mental attitude's effect on others. Maintain deliberately strong, positive mental attitude during one family dinner. Notice how the atmosphere shifts, how others respond more positively. Enter one meeting at work broadcasting strong, positive vibrations. Observe how the meeting's tone differs from typical meetings. Call one friend who has been struggling, maintaining positive mental attitude throughout the conversation. Notice whether their spirits lift. Then observe what happens when you allow negative mental attitude to dominate during interactions. Notice others withdrawing, becoming defensive, catching your negative mood. This awareness makes the ripple effect visible to you. You will see that you are either lifting or lowering everyone in your orbit. There is no neutral. Your mental attitude radiates outward, affecting all who come within its sphere. This transforms mental attitude from personal improvement project to moral obligation. You maintain positive mental attitude not merely for your benefit, but as your gift to others. Your mental attitude is your primary contribution to the world, more important than your work, your wealth, or your words. Every person you encounter leaves your presence either strengthened or weakened by the mental attitude you broadcast. This is profound responsibility and profound opportunity, the unconquerable life mastery and freedom. When you achieve mastery of your mental attitude, you become unconquerable. Not because external circumstances bow to your will, they do not always, but because you choose how to interpret and respond to every circumstance. Your contentment, confidence, and creative power reside within you, independent of external conditions. This is true freedom. Not freedom from circumstances, but freedom within any circumstances. I observed this principle in the Nazi concentration camps through reports that reached me after the war. Some prisoners maintained dignity, purpose, hope even in hell itself. Others, in far better circumstances, surrendered to despair. The difference was never circumstances, but mental attitude towards circumstances. Those who maintained positive mental attitude remained spiritually free, even in physical captivity. I witnessed this same principle during the Great Depression. Some people with nothing maintained hope and rebuilt. Others with much surrendered to bitterness. The unconquerable life is available regardless of circumstances. It is a state of consciousness, not a state of conditions. Those who master positive mental attitude develop what I call success consciousness, an unshakable inner knowing that they cannot ultimately fail. This is not arrogance, but earned confidence from repeatedly maintaining positive mental attitude through challenges and observing that doing so always leads to eventual triumph. They know that if one approach fails, they will try another and another until success arrives. They are patient because they are certain. At the highest level of mastery, positive mental attitude ceases being something you do and becomes something you are. You no longer need techniques because the positive response has become automatic. Negative thoughts still appear. Occasionally you are human, but they no longer dominate, define, or control you. The practices taught throughout this work must become your way of life. Morning ritual establishing positive mental attitude daily. Autosuggestion. Reprogramming your subconscious. Instant replacement of negative thoughts. Going the extra mile at work. Seeking equivalent benefit in adversity. Connecting to infinite intelligence. Maintaining positive atmosphere for others. These are not separate practices, but integrated way of being. As you continue applying them over months and years, they fuse into your character. One day you will realize you no longer need to remember the techniques. You have become someone who naturally maintains positive mental attitude. That is mastery. The pathway lies before you, illuminated by those who have walked it successfully. Every principle shared has been tested and proven. Every technique works when applied with faith and persistence. The only variable is you, your willingness to pay the price of mental discipline, your determination to persist despite obstacles, your faith that these laws operate as certainly as the law of gravity. Begin this very day, not tomorrow, not when conditions are better, not after you finish this or accomplish that now. Choose one negative pattern you will replace with its positive opposite. Choose one person toward whom you will cultivate goodwill instead of resentment. Choose one circumstance you will view as opportunity instead of obstacle. Make that choice. Act on it today and repeat tomorrow and every day thereafter. Build your positive mental attitude. One thought, one decision, one day at a time until it becomes the foundation of your entire existence. Your life will change because you will change. And in changing, you will discover what I have discovered through 40 years of research and observation, that within you lies dormant a giant of power waiting to be awakened. That giant is your mind operating under the control of positive mental attitude. Awaken it, command it, and watch your entire world transform. The choice, as always, is yours. But know this, in choosing to master your mental attitude, you choose to master your destiny. And that choice will make all the difference.